Hey guys, last week we showed you how to build one of these custom barn wood doors with a full-length dressing mirror. Very cool. Today we're showing you how to install it. All the do's and don'ts, so stay tuned. This is going to be quick and fun. We always, from the beginning of the construction here, knew we were going to put a sliding door, which is why we don't have any electrical in the wall. Okay, the electricians intentionally installed it over the side. And up here, we're covering a steel beam. Now here's the cool part. Because we're in a basement and there's a steel beam, what we did is we put a 2x8 inside that steel beam so that we have the structure necessary to attach the door. A lot of barn doors, when you look at the hardware, you have two options. You have a rail where the mounts are adjustable and you can put them anywhere along the wall. So you could use a stud finder, find out where the wood is on the wall, mark it and attach it. But a lot of the hardware systems that are out there have fixed rail mounts and you can't adjust. So if when you're building something new, you're gonna do a barn door, you can add the wood in advance. Otherwise, you might find yourself cutting open your drywall to put some backing in and then patching and repairing and painting again before you hang your barn door. A way to get around that is if, here, let me show you here. Let's say you wanted to hang a barn door made of this material and you didn't have a header. You could attach a board like this first, screw this to your frame, and then mount your door over top of it, okay? That is a way to get around it if you don't want to open your wall. Just a quick tip there in case you're in the mood. Okay, so now we're gonna hang our door. We have to take into consideration the size of the door, the gap from underneath, the size that we need gap from the door to the rail, plus, once this rail is fixed, the space that we need in order to lift it up and onto the rail. So, this kit is awesome. I like this style. It's a black hard rail overhead rail system. So it looks really cool when you're mounting it. It's great contrast with the color in the room. We also picked up a black gate hardware handle. Here's our hardware. We just got our nice little piece of cast iron rod with pre-drilled holes. Now here's some pretty serious bolt, right? This is looks like 1/4 inch. It's almost big enough to hold your deck to your house. And if you don't have wood, they gave you a little, folks, if you're thinking about mounting your door and you're gonna use one of these, stop. Put a piece of wood across the top like I showed you earlier. You've gotta mount something like that to structure or it is just gonna fall down and land on your kid in the middle of the night. Our door, here is 81.5. We'll add a 1/2 inch for the bottom. That takes us to a total height of 82.5. So what we'll do is we'll just make a quick mark here. That's where our door goes to. Our rail is 1.5 inches. So we'll add the 1.5 inches for our rail. We just have to make sure that when we install our hardware on the door, we leave a 2-inch gap between this and the bottom of the wheel. That gives us a space so that we can go up and over and sit on the rail. That's a perfect place for the rail position. If we leave a 2-inch gap from the wheel to the door, we're adding another 1/2 inch closer to the floor. So we better translate that information here, add a 1/2 inch, okay? Worst case scenario, we're a little bit off and the floor's got a slope. We're either gonna go a little bit tighter or open up a little bit as we open the door. It doesn't really matter if it's a 1/2 inch or 1 inch off the floor. Nobody's gonna be crawling around to take a look underneath. This is our midpoint, basically right here off this door. And that's our mark. So we're gonna just mark this until we hit dead level. Alrighty. Okay, at this point, don't worry about pencil marks on the wall. I've intentionally left the second coat of paint for this until after I'm done because I know I'm gonna make a bit of a mess. And no big deal. So our rail is gonna go here. And so we're gonna put this on the mark that we made. Holy cow, this is just so much easier. You guys should start a business. So real quick, once you got your rail up and you've marked your spot, take your lags, you want to pre-drill. You don't want to try to assemble the hardware until such time that you're done. That's the spot there. Remember, this is where the I-beam is. We have that 2x8 in there, so I can get the wood anywhere I want. So we're all alone. I got the college kids outside finishing off, getting ready for the deck. We're gonna put that screw through. This is why we pre-drill. The fat part of the base goes against the wall. So thread that on, lift this into position. And don't tighten it all the way. Okay, so now we got them all in place. We'll tighten this up. Okay. You want to be careful when you're doing this, you don't over tighten. It is a lag bolt, it's going into wood, but it has restriction because of this wheel and the plate. If you over tighten, that lag bolt will keep turning inside the wood until it threads it and shreds it, and there's nothing left for that bolt to hold on to. So when you're tightening it up, as soon as you see movement, stop, double check, okay? Get another little half, that's plenty. You can watch this. Just pay attention to your rail. Okay, put your finger on it. Oh, movement, no movement. Just a little bit to give it a little bit of love. Okay, the brushless motor in here, it's constantly adding and releasing the torque. So even in hard situations, it's just that sudden hammering of power that drives it through those knots in that thick wood. That's why I love this, because it'll just power through anything. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, we're gonna put our end stop, we're gonna slide it right in here first. I realized afterwards that the mount on the door is going to be a couple inches in from the corner, and so I need to get that in here and then put this back in place again before I hang my door up. Oh, or I'll be doing everything 3 times. Good. We can set that with the Allen key once we get the door in place. Right now it's perfect. The one at the other end is just a stop to keep it from hitting the wall, and that'll be fine where it is. So what we've got here is we've got our door. Because we have a custom picture frame with texture, there's a higher surface, our door hardware isn't designed to be mounted on an uneven surface. So what we're gonna do is we have 2 options. We can modify the surface, or we can modify the hardware. Unfortunately, the kit with the hardware doesn't come with any spacers or anything for doing that. So we're gonna modify the door. I'm just laying this roughly down the middle here. I think that'll be a nice place to hang the door. I'm gonna mark both sides of that, and I'm just gonna take my skill saw. And this is quick and dirty, but it's gonna do the job just fine. For people who are comfortable enough using a hand tool like this for doing custom modifications, I'll just go through. I'm just removing the safety guard and putting my fingers on the plate here. So I know my hand's out of the way the whole time. I'm putting the plate on the door, and I'm gonna set the saw into my cutting material. And I wanna set the deepest part right above my nut here. So that keeps it as flat as possible, and maybe just a little bit behind. I'd rather cut a little bit more out of the back than the front, and then I'm just gonna watch the front to set my depth. There we go. Beautiful. So I'm marking the top of my door at 2 inches. So that is an actual 6 1/4 from here to there. That way we can make sure they're both the same. And I'm marking the exact center of the hole. So far, so good. We found that the hardware that comes with this kit is made traditionally for a standard door that's 1 1/4, 1.5 inches. So the bolts are designed to work that way. We had to pack the back of our bolt with a couple of washers. No big deal. Our wood is only 1 inch thick, and that gives us the right thickness to pack all this on. I'm gonna be tightening the back of the bolt with the channel locks. Okay, and look, I'm using them correctly. Thank God for YouTube, or I never would have learned how to use channel locks. All right. Now, the hanging part on this, that's the trick, because you have to lift and then set it down. That's all there is to it, kids. Here we go. Rolling barn door. So I've got this door centered now on the hole. About 1 inch overhang on each side, which is nice. And then here's that little bracket we showed earlier. What we're gonna do is we're gonna come up, make contact with the rail, slide this out of the way and take our Allen key, tighten up the set screws. That way when we're done and the door goes to close, the motion is going to be just to slide it over until it hits tight, and you're not going to have to worry about standing there trying to adjust it properly. So the final step for the door mounting hardware is these little sliding discs. Now what we want to do is we want to set them up so that this disc, once it's attached to the door, is sliding off the edge of the trim. Okay? This will maintain that the only point of wear is going to be on the baseboard. Generally speaking, the semi-gloss paint that we use to paint the trim is more than strong enough to handle the occasional contact, and if necessary, real easy to touch up down the road. So I bought this real fancy carriage handle. Isn't that gonna look nice? All that black metal. And so I just went to go and install it, and I looked at the package. I'm gonna open this up for you on camera. Prepare to be amazed. So I have one machine nut and one lag bolt. What am I supposed to do with that? I appreciate the options, but maybe two of each would have been better. Now I gotta go back to the store and buy more hardware, because that is just ridiculous. Make sure I don't go into the wall. Well, here we go, folks. Custom-made barnwood door with a full-length dressing mirror with accessories to match. That was a lot of work, but I think it's worth it. Probably would have been saved a couple of hours if we just bought something off the rack, but then you'd have the same door as everyone else in the world. So, if you like something unique and you like something personal, in this particular case, we made this one because we have a teenage daughter, I think she's 16, who's gonna be spending weekends here. And so we just wanted to make this space a little extra special. And here we go. Nothing says we love you like custom work. If you're enjoying these videos, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, but most importantly, comment on the videos. By all means, or a suggestion of video you'd like to see, let us know. We'd love to be in touch.